know Wizard of Oz, and the part where, what was the female's name in the Wizard of Oz? Dorothy, that's it. And she gets whisked off in like a whirlwind. And when I went back and I thought, I compared my head to that. It's like this whirlwind, with Dorothy spinning round, and the only way to stop this sort of whirling and to bring it back down to earth was to hurt myself, and that would calm everything really.
I have Tourette's syndrome, which has traits of Asperger's and neurological things, and I think that makes it harder for me to find the right words to use for my emotions. So I find it difficult to speak about how I feel, so then I would use self-harm as a way of getting it out of me.
You know, self-harming is not a choice. It's not something that you do because you think, I'll wake up and I might cut myself today. You don't. You wake up and you think, I'm trying to cope with this day. And stuff goes right. And if it goes wrong, then it's almost a little bit like turning into somebody else. Because they're two different people, the person that's cutting themselves and the person that's sitting in the therapist office saying, I will be good, yes, and I won't do that because it disturbs you.
I should say from the start that in terms of no harm contract, I don't work to that at all. The reason for that, I think, is because it's a bit like saying to somebody who's got a condition, I'm going to treat you as long as you're cured of it before we start the treatment. I think it's a bloody odd way of going about it. What we're going to do now is live with what you're like as you are now. And if that means you self-harm, then you self-harm, that's fine. And what's very, very important is that and that's one of the reasons it takes a long time, is you sort of have to go through the crises. And the theory is that if they go up and down like this, they're really high, but actually the idea is they ought to come down like that. That's what ought to happen in the best of circumstances. It doesn't always happen, but that's what ought to happen. So the person either stops self-harming or really self-harms very infrequently. But I don't start from that assumption. In fact, I start from the opposite assumption, which is, actually, I want to know what these crises are going to be about.
Let it snow. Let it snow. Let it cover up all traces of the year that's gone before. Let it snow.
I think that every time you see a self-harming client, then you've got an opportunity to make a difference. I mean, one of the differences, of course, is engaging with that service user in a way that begins to make them feel they want to come back to the service, whatever, in general, the NHS service. Because obviously one of the things that happens if they get a bad experience is they won't come back. I mean, most self-harmers don't go to the service, and we don't know about most self-harmers. We really, really don't. They're a hidden population, and probably more so amongst men than women. So it's really important to have an experience which is a good experience.
People's attitudes, especially nurses in triage, is, well, you've done it yourself, so you can wait. And that kind of attitude doesn't really go, because you've gone into A&E, you've cut yourself, you're seeing triage, they're asking you what you've done. You admittedly say, you know what, yes, I've self-harmed. And then it's kind of like, oh. And if you're a recurrent self-harmer, it's like, you again. And I had that. It's like the kind of, oh, it's her again. And you put with the people who you see on a Friday night who have got drunk and had a fight, and they're lying on the hospital floor in A&E, and people stand over them. They've got young mums and young parents sitting there tutting because their child's not being seen first. You'll get put in that group of, well, you've done it yourself, you can wait, we're more important. Whereas the anxiety that comes along after self-harm and the depressed phase you can go into isn't really considered. Hospitals are changing a lot now with the guidelines, but it's going to be a lot of work, because it's not just changing the hospitals. You've got to change people and the attitudes that they hold to enable the person who's gone in with self-harm to get the support that they would need.
Let it snow. Let it snow. Let it cover up all traces of the year that's gone before. Let it snow.
I really like the sort of label of attention seeking with self-harmers. I mean, it's an odd idea from my point of view to think they wouldn't be attention seeking. I mean, I like the fact that they're attention seeking. They ought to be seeking attention for something that is really, really, really problematic.
Lots of people I've spoken to who've never had therapy are very fearful of being mistreated, not so much mistreated, but just not noticed, and I think that they're scared of not receiving the right treatment at the same time as being scared it won't work, as being scared that they'll be blamed, scared that they'll be labelled. And my biggest top tip is no, they don't. I mean, that I've found, I've never been blamed. I have been labelled, but I've been labelled by the wrong people, you know. And in the therapeutic journey, you'll find people you don't like, and you'll find people that you're downright frightened of, and that's also normal. Therapists are human. They are doing their best, and they may find it disturbing what you do. And it's because it's a very human transaction, even though they are professional. Nobody's a professional at being a human. There's no such thing.
So we have this thing amongst my friends who have got mental health problems as well, known as psychiatric tracksuit bottoms. Tracksuit bottoms, slightly too small, elasticated at the bottom. You wear them pulled up really, really high. So you could tuck just about anything into them, including your chin. And then shoes that don't really go, nothing really matches. And as a woman, your femininity is totally lost. I like to wear jewellery. I'm not overly feminine, but really doesn't fit in a psych unit. Going to outpatient appointments, stick out like a sore thumb. A lot of people have mistaken me as a professional. Even the professionals themselves, looking for me on the psych unit, will come up to me and say, "Excuse me, do you know where Miss Nijar is?" And it's like, "Yeah, I am Miss Nijar." And they're taken aback and they look at you up and down like, oh, okay, follow me through, it's time for your review. So it does have a big impact upon people, and it does affect the care and support that you receive. Initially negatively, because they don't expect you to be that way, and it kind of like blows their view and their superiority because you are like one of them, and they don't like you to be one of them because they can't really deal with you then.
The night came in and the snow came down and it covered everything around, spread a brand new canvas on the ground. I settled all below, and tomorrow is always drawing near, the great new morning, bright and clear, and the promise of another year. And I'll step out in the fresh snow, let it snow, let it snow, let it cover up all traces of the year that's gone before, let it snow.